Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new here. So for today's video, we are doing something a little different for my channel. We're going to be going through my entire bookshelf collection because as you guys can see right here, I have tons and tons of books that are not even fitting on my bookshelf because I am out of space. And the reason why I'm out of space is because I've had some of these books since I was like in middle school or high school. So it's time that I reorganize my entire bookshelf and do a massive book declutter, which I have never done in my entire life. So you guys want to see what I'm keeping, what I'm not, what my collection looks like before and after, well then definitely keep watching. So I want to start by saying that I hope everybody had a beautiful Christmas weekend. If you guys do not celebrate Christmas, then I hope you guys just had a beautiful weekend. I had such an amazing weekend. I got to go to Paige and Jarvis's wedding. I got to celebrate my family, which I'll tell you guys all about in upcoming videos. But right now, I need to show you guys this. Okay, so this is like my YA section. So as you guys can see, it doesn't look like it's packed, but it's packed. It is jam-packed because behind every single row is more and more books. You guys see that? More and more books are literally hidden all behind here. This thing is full with books upon books upon books, literally upon books. And this is just like my YA, well, mostly my YA section. Then over here, we have all of the new books that I actually got for Christmas and my birthday. So this is everything you guys are gonna see right here. And there's literally like another whole stack behind that. So I need to find space for these books and I need to reorganize this because then we also have this right here. Now this is gonna be more of like my adult section. It's gonna have a lot of my hardcovers in here. We're gonna have my dark romance leading up to my normal romance. We have just my pretty design books that you guys see right over here. This is all like my fantasy / sci-fi that goes all the way into like mystery and thrillers. And there's my dog Koa. So I'm actually gonna set the camera up. We're going to take down every single shelf because like these ones there's nothing behind, but like these ones up here, let me show you. Yeah, we have more books hiding, y'all. I have a problem, but to be fair, I have had these books for half my life. I've never decluttered a book. I have in the past donated a couple books that were like from my middle school years and early high school years to children's hospitals. Some I didn't realize were not appropriate until later on, but I have donated some. And then I also have all my childhood books that are at my parents' house that I still refuse to hold, like I still refuse to get rid of, like all of my Magic Treehouse series books, my series of Unfortunate Vince books, my whole series, like my book holes. Like I have so many books from my childhood, like all my Dr. Seuss books, they're all at my parents' house. So I love books. I'm a huge avid reader. I have been a reader my entire life. I wanted to be a writer for the longest time. I actually got my degree in creative writing, so I always wanted to be in the book space. So that's why I have so many books. And like I said, I've had a lot of these books since I was in middle school, high school, and beyond. So some of these books, like right here, like these are my Sarah Dessen books. I've had them since I was in high school. I'm never gonna read those books again. So like I had them for like a minimum of like 15 years, if not longer. So the idea of parting from them does make me pretty sad, but like realistically, I know I'll never read them again. So it's like, why am I still holding on to them? I should move on from stuff from my earlier years because those are more like preteen, early adolescence. And I'm definitely well into my 30s and I've moved on from those series. I moved on to more like dark romance style series, like mystery, thrillers, fantasy. I don't really relate to like the stuff that teenagers go through anymore. So I think it's time we let those go. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the camera and we're gonna take everything off my shelf. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna keep and what I'm gonna go ahead and sell or donate or do whatever I'm gonna do, because I know I've talked about this before with you guys, and quite a few of you guys have actually asked me to sell some of these books. I know it's like a website like called Pingo Books. I probably end up doing that. I'll probably make some mystery boxes, and I'm probably also just gonna give some to those who ask, and I'm also gonna donate where I can. So yeah, let me get the camera set up. We're gonna start off with this big old shelf right here. I'm gonna pull everything out, put a keep pile, put a declutter pile, and we're gonna really organize this for once. Okay, so here is how the bookshelf is looking right now. I did take everything off. This right here, that is a maybe pile. This is all keep, but this is all declutter right here. I'm gonna kind of go through these and tell you guys why I'm keeping, why I'm not, but it'll be kind of brief. Otherwise this video will probably be like 5.5 hours long because we still have a whole other shelf to do. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys what we are working with so far. Like I said, a lot of this is my YA that I've had for years, and I think it's time that I move on from them. So let me set the camera up so I can kind of show you guys why I'm keeping certain items and why I'm keeping certain books versus why I'm getting rid of certain books. Okay, so we're gonna start off with Declutter. So this is the entire Blue Blood series by Melissa Dela Cruz. I read this, I think, when I was in 11th or 12th grade. There's nothing wrong with it. This was kind of like Gossip Girl meets vampires. It's about a girl that got put into society of blue bloods. They are high-level vampires, and she essentially tries to become one, tries to fit into the world, all the while staying at like a private school. It literally reminded me so much of Gossip Girls. I enjoyed the entire series, but for me personally, I just feel like I have grown beyond this. I feel like I'm just a little bit too old for this type of content anymore, just because it is very, very teen-esque, with very teen-esque drama and all that type of stuff. So I don't know, I just feel like I read this and I enjoyed the series while I had it, but I just know personally I'm never going to read this again. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter these ones. If you guys don't know, I actually worked at Books A Million for several years. So for me, getting a lot of these books was super, super easy because I worked there, so I got a discount. So here's this book called Wrecked. I actually never ended up reading this, so I'm going to go ahead and declutter this one. Okay, so up next I do the I Am Number 4 series. I read all three. At first I really did enjoy this book, but then we got into the other two and I kind of lost interest. This is actually written by two different authors, and for me, I can tell when one author ended and a new one began. You can see how the writing style definitely shifted, and I just really felt that I just could not get into the stories anymore. The writing was very difficult for me. The storyline kind of got lost on me, so I ended up just DNFing this entire series. So since I DNF'd it, I never finished it. We're going to go ahead and declutter these ones. I read this series actually when I was 16 years old. I remember my nephew Riley was being born when I was reading Beautiful Creatures in the hospital. I don't remember too much about it. I do know there's a movie on it. It's about a girl that like was a witch, and when she turned a certain age, she had to choose between being a good or a bad witch, and that her powers would choose for her. And she kind of like became both good and bad, broke her curse that was on her family since like the 1800s. Not a bad story, but I never ended up finishing it, so we're gonna go ahead and declutter these ones. So I read The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants when I was actually in 10th grade. Great story great story when I was 16, but this is another one of those series that I will never pick up again, never read again. I just held on to it for so long because I did have this series for so long, but I definitely think it's time I go ahead and declutter these ones. Here we have the House of Night series. This is by PC and Kristen Cass. It's a mother-daughter duo that wrote this series. And it's about a girl who goes to a vampire academy, and she also gets powers, and she goes through all these different trials and tribulations while she's there. And I just could not get into the writing. I DNF'd it after the 7th or 8th book. You can definitely see where the two different writing styles are. I didn't like how they portrayed the main character. She just was all over the place. They used terms like bull poopy. It was just very weird. I couldn't finish the series. Too much was happening for me, but I never finished. Too much was happening in my mind, so I ended up just DNFing this entire series. So since I DNF'd it, I'm gonna go ahead and declutter these ones. So this is the Match series by Allie Dawson. And I don't remember too much about it. Honestly, I read it so long ago. I want to say it was like 17, 18. All I know is it's a dystopian style book where this girl's like torn between two guys. She has to go and save them. There's something that has to do with like pills that you have to take. Like I said, I don't remember too much. All I know is I read this like 17, 18 years ago, this entire series. So I know I'm never going to read them again. So I'm going to go ahead and just declutter these ones. So these are my Summer Boy series. I read these during the summer of like my 11th and 12th grade year. These are very, very, very short books that take place at Beach House. You follow like 4 different girls and their stories before they kind of go off to college and in between college. Definitely not a bad read. Quick little summer pool day type of style books. But for me personally, I know I'll never end up reading these ones again. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this whole series. I read this like my 10th grade year of high school, so I don't remember too much about the series. All I remember is how this girl discovers that she's a witch and like different candles implement different type of powers. She could do stuff in her dreams to help her back, like her dead boyfriend. Her other friend can see deaths that were coming like to be, and it's been so long since I've read this series. I like I said, I have a hard time letting go of books. I've had this literally since I was in 10th grade, so 16. So like literally almost like what, 20, almost like 17 years ago. That's freaking wild. Oh my God. Wow. I feel so old, but yeah, it's time to let these go. Okay, so here are all of my Sarah Dessen books. I actually used to be obsessed with her when I was about 18 years old. I read all her stuff. Well, at the time, this is all of her stuff. I think she writes fantastic books. She is very happily ever after. She was very relatable. I think my favorite book was This Lullaby, and it's about a girl who really never wanted to get hurt, so she never allowed herself to get close to a guy, and then they end up working together. She ended up falling in love with him, but she tried to fight so hard to hide her feelings. Stuff happens, and she realized she's about to lose the love of her life because of what? And it really kind of taught her to step out of her comfort zone, take a chance, let those walls down, and just realize that not everybody out there is, you know, going to hurt you. And I really resonated with that book a lot when I was about 17, 18 years old. It was actually around the time I met Corey when I read that book. So anyway, I thought this was a fantastic author, fantastic series. But for me personally, I'll never read these books again just because I'm too old for it, essentially. I like more heat and more spice in my books. And these are very, very like, you know, teen love, first heartbreak style books. Great stories. It's just, I've definitely had to move on for them. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter these ones. Great summer reads, but that's pretty much all they were. It's about a girl that works at a house that's like almost like in the Hamptons, and she works with a really rich family, and she ends up falling in love with one of the boys there, and you guys can kind of guess what happens. Great summer series, but legit, that's all it's good for. Okay, so here are some books that I picked up while I worked at Books A Million. I've never actually read any of these series, so I really couldn't tell you if they're good or not. I've read Alison Noel. I read like her Evermore series. I've loved Scott Westerfeld. He did the Ugly series. I haven't read any of these other ones. This is about the girl who ends up back on Titanic. Someone has to fight for love to fight Persephone. I know this was a big book, never read it. Disney inspired. I know this was an author that first put her stuff on Amazon, and then she blew up and was actually able to sign with a publication, so she made her books like come to be, which I think is fantastic. I know that's like a play on the Ugly series. Don't know what those two are about, so I'm gonna go ahead and just declutter these just because I never read them, and I've had them for at least 12, 13 years, and I just have no intention of reading them. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter these ones. This is my Kelly Armstrong series. I absolutely love Kelly Armstrong. She writes not only for adults, but she also writes for the YA community, and these are her YA books right here. This one's about witches. This one's more about being a panther, and this one's kind of a new series, but I've already read all these, and I think they're fantastic for what they are, but like I said, I have grown, and these are not really my taste anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and pass these forward. I'm going to declutter these. Fantastic stories, great way to get introduced to fantasy. If you want to get introduced to fantasy, she's a fantastic writer. Like I said, I'm absolutely obsessed with her adult series, but like I said, I like more adults than YA, so we're going to go ahead and declutter these ones. Okay, so this is my last pile so far for the For Sure declutter, but we're still going to be going through my maybe and then everything over here. But here's 13 Reasons Why. I read this a long time ago. Obviously, this became a show. It's very depressing. It's not like it's a very happy read. It's a very depressing read, one that I won't really ever read again. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. I never ended up reading this book. I got it when I worked at Books A Million. I got this to my best friend. We both DNF'd this book and just decided not to finish this. I'm letting this one go. I read these two, like, I think I was like 21. Again, happy-go-lucky, girl gets the boy next door. Moving on. Here are the two books that got made into movies. I read The Girl on the Train. I just couldn't get into how drunk the character was and how long it took to build up the story. I really just was not a fan of the writing, and she just took way too long. There's too many blackouts that happen. As a reader, you're like, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? And it was just very frustrating. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the book. Same thing with Gone Girl. Wasn't a fan of the book either. I read the whole thing before I saw the movie, and I don't know, I feel like I liked the movies more than the actual books. I DNF'd this book. That's supposed to be a horror book, but it turned out not to be. It was just really, really freaking boring. Same thing with A Cabin at the End of the World. I DNF'd it with like 100 pages left to go because I just couldn't stand how there was writing from 3 different perspectives. One was from like a 12-year-old girl who talked like she was 36. It took forever to get to the story. It's about the 4 horsemen that comes to stop the apocalypse from happening, and you have to kill each other, and they just took way too long to get to the heart of the story. I think the movie's so much better personally, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter these ones. Okay, so now we're moving on to what I am keeping for now. So we have the entire Lightning Thief series that my sister gave to me. I definitely want to hold on to that, along with the Maze Runner series. I do have the Scorch Trial. It's actually somewhere in the pile behind me. I guess I didn't stack it with these books. I'm holding on to these ones for obvious reasons. One, I think the Lightning Thief series is absolutely fantastic. I am enjoying the Maze Run series. I'm so far on the second book. Haven't finished the rest of the other three, but I do want to find out what happens. I've enjoyed these more than the movies itself. They explain so much more. So we're going to hold on to these ones. Okay, so this is all of my Sarah Shepherd books. As you guys can see, I really loved the Pretty Little Liars series. She also did the Never Have I Ever series back there, along with some extra series that she kind of spun off, like The Perfectionist, The Good Girls, The Amateur. I really did enjoy some of her books. She did some standalones, but she also did a series. And even though these are definitely more like teen-esque books, there was something about the Pretty Little Liars series that really just captivated my attention as an adult. I really enjoyed these. I think I kind of read them more like 18 through like 23, I think, earlier younger years, and I just still really enjoy this series. I would definitely find myself picking this back up again, so that's why I'm going to hold on to these ones, but they're going to be organized a little bit better. But yeah, I just want to show you guys I have the entire Pretty Little Liars series. I wish they just had like one massive book to be so much easier, or like 4 in 1, and then I would like declutter these and just have those ones. But yeah, this is all of my Sarah Shepherd Pretty Little Liars and Never Have I Ever, and like other standalone series. Here we have my Vampire Diaries and the Secret Circle books. I really enjoyed the Vampire Diaries. I remember I read these shortly after I read Twilight, like the first and second book. I fell in love with the series. I was in 12th grade. I remember being in my TA, like teacher assistant's class, reading this entire thing. Even though it's been so long since I've read these books, like seriously so freaking long. I know they did a show, which I absolutely did love the show, completely different from the books, but I'm still want to hold on to these just because I still love it. Here we have my Vampire Academy series. I absolutely love this series. I read this when I was in high school, and they did do a continuation on to a second series right there. But I absolutely loved this series. I tell anyone who's ever trying to get into fantasy, but is still unsure, to read this. It's about a girl who is a fighter. Her job is to protect the vampires, and they go to university, they go to a school, and she has to protect her best friend who is a vampire but also has incredible power. She's a pure, like, rare form of a vampire, and it's her job to protect them as like a fighter, a bodyguard, or warrior. Freaking fantastic. It has a mix of spice, it has a mix of love, it has drama, it has elements of fantasy. Such a fantastic series. I would definitely read this one. And then it moved on to another series right there, which I'm really obsessed with. So definitely keeping these. Moving on to what else we have on the shelf. We have all of my entire 50 Shades of Grey. I just don't have the third book in the version. I have the first two, and then I never got the third one. But here we have the 50 Shades of Grey. Absolutely love that series. We have the Me Before You series. Such an incredibly sad series, but it's such a beautiful story as well. So keeping these ones. And then these 4 books right here I have not read yet, but they are on my TBR. So we're going to hold on to these ones. Okay, so up first we do have The Host. This is by Stephanie Meyer. This is a book she wrote after Twilight, and it's about an alien colonization here on Earth, where they pretty much take over the human minds and essentially kill the hosts that they're accompanying. Except there's a human girl who is fighting one of the aliens that are living in her head, and she's convincing the alien to pretty much help her stay alive and to save the human race. Beautiful story about love, self-preservation, determination, overall growth, change. Freaking loved this story. Same thing with The Chemist. Really did enjoy this book. Then we have this series right here. This is about a guy that falls in love with a human girl. He is a fallen angel, and it's his job to fight demons. Even though he's a fallen angel himself, it is his job to pretty much fight the demons that are on this earth and try to win his way back into heaven. Fantastic series. And then we have a Great and Terrible Beauty series. Now this series right here I read back when I was like in high school, but it's such a beautiful story. It's about a girl that lived in India. And then her parents sent her to boarding school in London. And when she gets there, she realizes that she has an ability to travel to a special realm in her dreams. And when she travels to her dreams, she meets a guy in this special realm that she can only access through her dreams. And they fall in love, and she finds a way to be with him permanently. And she's in a boarding school. It's set like in the late early 1900s. Very great story. At first it was very hard to get into, but once she got past the India portion and she's in her boarding school and she has to deal with like all these mean girls and these bullies, it becomes a fantastic series. Still love the series. Okay, so here we have some wolf series. This is about a girl that lives in a wolf clan and falls in love with a guy that lives in the opposite wolf clan, and they have to find a way to work together, and they end up having these battles. Beautiful story. I wish I kept the artwork because this is how the artwork originally looked for the other two, but then they did switch it, unfortunately. This is a new series that she did write. I have not read this one, but I have it on my list. Here we have the Moonlight series about these girls who don't really realize that they are wolves themselves, and they fall in love with a guy that pretty much has to help them transition into becoming a wolf. Otherwise you die if you don't find your mate. Just a quick, easy read. I still do enjoy these series, so that's why I held on to them for so long. So these books right here I have not read. They are on my TBR, but I have read the Unearthly series. I actually read this when Corey and I first moved into our first new apartment. It's about this girl who realizes that she's part angel, and she's getting visions of a boy that's going to die, and it's her job to save him. But at the same time, she ends up falling in love, and she kind of has to decide what to do. Does she keep her human part, or does she risk herself and reveal her angel part and risk the lives of not only herself but everybody in her family and those that are around her, helping her trying to win this task? She pretty much has to choose between humanity or this guy, and it's a fantastic 3-part series. I really did enjoy that, and like I said, those are on my TBR, so we're going to keep these ones. So this is the entire Sweep series. It took me forever back when I was like in 10th and 11th grade to find every single copy, because it wasn't like you could just go and order it like on Amazon like the way you could now. Times were so much different. I literally had to track these down. It's about a girl that discovers she has powers, and it's a great coming to be story, and she has all this magical abilities. She becomes the strongest witch in their coven, and I don't want to let these go, but I definitely don't want to necessarily keep them in my collection anymore. So I think this series right here are a series I'm actually going to put into like a tote, a box to like put away and just have, and maybe one day if I have kids I could pass this for them, just kind of depending. I really did enjoy this series when I was in high school. I don't know if I'd still enjoy it now, honestly. These are such small little books, but I just remember how long it took me to freaking track these books down so I could read the entire series. They're so short, and I enjoyed them for what they were, but I feel like I'm definitely a lot older now. I just, oh my god, this took me a long time to get all these books. Okay, so these are all the books I got over the last year, so these are all being kept. Just wanted to quickly show them to you guys. All the new books I recently just got this past year that I am definitely keeping, except for these ones right here. These are not new. These are my City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I absolutely love Cassandra Clare, and I will continue to read all the books she ever published because she's just a fantastic, fantastic author. Here we have The Cuckoo's Calling. This was actually written by J.K. Rowling. She actually wrote this under a different name to see that she would be able to get a book deal without having to use J.K. Rowling. So this is actually her book, just under a different name, and I haven't read it, but I definitely did get this to read, so I will at some point in life. Here we have The Green Mile. I absolutely loved this book. It's my favorite movie in the entire world. Very sad actually, but I still really do love this. Loved the Help book. Absolutely funny, fantastic, beautiful, sad, all in one. Crazy Rich Asians. Oh my god, these books are freaking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Never part from this book. I absolutely love this book. It's about a girl that she is a werewolf, and she is with her family, and she ends up changing one night, and there's a girl going after her mother, so she fights the girl, and come to find out it was actually a battle to become the next alpha, and there's a guy that also battled at the same time, so essentially she battled to be his wife. She doesn't want to be his wife. She absolutely hates this guy. She just wants to be a normal human girl who goes to high school, and then she finds out that like she can never be normal because now she's mated to the alpha, and you see her go through different trials, you see her go through different heartbreaks, and you see her kind of overcome some things. It's a great freaking story. The movie did not do it justice. I absolutely love this book. I read it in one day. Freaking fantastic. We'll always hold on to this. Then we have our maybe piles. I didn't read House of Salt and Sorrow, but I don't know if I'm going to. We had the Alison Noel Everlasting series. I read them. They're okay. Honestly, I'll probably never read them again, so I think I'm going to go ahead and declutter those ones. And then we have the We Are Liars, and One of Us is Lying. I heard bad things about these, even though I had them. I heard they're not that great, so I don't know if I'm going to keep them. Then we have The Fault in Our Stars. I read it. It's a fantastic book, but it's also extremely depressing, so I just don't know if it's something I'm going to keep. I'll let you guys know whether or not I do. Okay, so now that we have all of this laying right here, I'm going to go ahead and reorganize this entire shelf. Everything on that wall that you guys see over there, those are all my declutter pile. And then we're going to go ahead and reorganize everything right here. I'm going to start from the bottom, work my way up, and then we're going to move on to these shelves you guys see right here. But I think we're doing good so far. I've never, like I said, decluttered any books. I'm actually very proud to see how far I've come. where we are so far. This is the only like section that doesn't really look the most aesthetically pleasing, but this is going to be my YA section. So we have like all of my Sarah Shepard books here, along with my Vampire Diaries, the Moonlight series, the Maze Runner series, the Lightning Beast series, and the Vampire Diaries series. We're going to move up to this. We have all of my Angel series on one side. We have my like Dream segment right here, my Fifth Wave. We have the Class. We have the Last Musicians, along with the Nightshade series. And there's actually nothing behind there, which I'm so excited about. Then we have all of my Cassandra Clare right here, all of my Vampire Diaries. We have the entire Shadow Me series, the entire Red Queen series, along with just some YA books that are standalone right now in my collection. Moving up, we do have another standalone, The Darkest Minds. We have the Shadow and Bone series. We have the Serpent and Dove series. We have the Lightlark series, the Carnival series, the Cruel Prince series, and the Kingdom of the Wicked series. Again, nothing is behind there. Followed by the 3 Dark Crown series. Freaking love this series right here, by the way. So now we're gonna start to have like all these piles on the floor. These are more of like my adult piles. That's still my declutter, but what we're gonna go ahead and do is this is all of my romance books right here. I'm pretty much not gonna declutter any of my romance books. I'm gonna take these, we're actually gonna move them to the next shelf. We're gonna take these and we're actually gonna put them right over there because I want all of this, which is all my dark romance and dark fantasy romance, to kind of take over this entire shelf right here, and maybe spread it out just a little bit because I do have a lot of like normal fiction books down there. So wait, maybe, this is like my sci-fi fantasy along with like my mystery thriller and just normal fiction books. So I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all these normal fiction books and we're actually gonna go ahead and move them right over here. That way I can start to make room for all the new books that need to be sorted out. So let me go ahead and get you guys set up again. I'm actually tallying how many books I own so that we can kind of like see how many books I actually own because I've never counted. So I'm gonna start to move all these ones. I'm also gonna declutter some in the process and I'll show you guys what I decluttered after, but let me go ahead and start to move these ones over. Okay, so this is how we're looking so far. I definitely think we're looking pretty good. There's nothing behind, there's no stacking for once. So this is where like my YA does end right here. And now we're just moving into normal fiction books. I have like all my Outlander books, my Kristen Hanna books. I absolutely do love Kristen Hanna. Her books are just, oh my God, are they gut-wrenching. We have my Dan Brown series. We have The Host, The Night Circus, The Midnight Library. We have some normal books right here. We have the Jessica Simpson, Britney Spears. And then behind here, we have the Me Before You series. I just have it kind of pushed behind the plant. So now we're gonna go through here. We did kind of clear off that shelf right there. I'll show you what I decluttered in just a little bit. But we're gonna go through, this is all supposed to be my mystery sci-fi, my mystery thriller. Then we're gonna start to move into like my fantasy right here. We're not gonna really touch these shelves because these are like my prettiest books I love. Then we're gonna kind of readjust all of my romance. Okay, so moving on, I realized my camera stopped recording so you guys can see how I did the rest of the organization. So I'm just gonna kind of go through this. This is gonna be my sci-fi, this is gonna be my mystery thriller section, all right here. We have a little bit of mystery thriller, and then we're gonna move into just normal romance. So this is the entire romance section now has moved on to over here. All of this is just normal romance. Moving on to down here, this is going to be where you kind of go into dark romance. So this will be all of my dark romance section. You guys see right here, followed by moving on to dark fantasy romance. So all of this will be dark fantasy romance, dark fantasy romance, dark fantasy romance. And then we're just going to have right over here, just where I've been having my hardcovers. Nothing has really changed too much with this section, minus this little one right here. This is just where all of my Sarah J. Maas books are going to be. I don't really like how it looks, but I wanted to kind of keep them together. So this is just how it's going to look for now until I either get hardcovers of these, or I find a way to reorganize it, or I get another bookshelf, because I'm pretty much out of space. Because down here, this is just my actual like sci-fi fantasy. This is a YA series, but like legit, this is my sci-fi fantasy because I ran out of room. So my bookshelves are pretty much stocked again, unless I decided to start to double up and put things behind, which I honestly might do. I definitely think I was able to make room for all of my new books and clear out my old ones. And I'm actually really excited with how it looks, minus like this little section right here. So I tallied it up in total, not including the books that are gonna go into my shadow box, or Iron Flame that's sitting out in the living room. I have over 540 books in total. Now that's not how many I kept, but 540 books. Mind you, I have been getting these books since I was 15, 14, 16. Like, I've been getting them since I was a teenager, and I've never really departed, minus just a few. So for me, that is definitely a lot, but I'm very happy that I was able to finally let things go. So I actually ended up keeping 399 books, and I actually decluttered 141 books. I have never done that before in all of my years of being alive. I've definitely donated a few, but I've never actually did a mass declutter that you guys see right here. This is everything I'm going to be either selling, donating, and or just giving away. I know there's like a Pingo books that I'll have to get set up, but I'll definitely do that. And I'm also just going to give a lot away as well. So yeah, I started off with over 540. Like I said, I do have more because I'm just not counting the ones that are being putting into like a safe keep box, or like the Iron Flame that I have sitting off on the side. But I've started off with 540 books, and we narrowed it down to 399, or just over 400, and I'm getting rid of 141, which I'm very, very, very impressed with. So this is my new updated book collection. I definitely want to do more book content in the rolling into 2024. So you guys will definitely be seeing me do more of that. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. It feels so good to get rid of a lot of stuff and to move forward into the new year. But that is it for today's video, guys. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure you guys give this video a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, because I do post 4 to 5 videos every single week. Make sure you guys head over to my other channel. It's R40 Life, where you guys get to see my cool, wonderful adventures, my amazing husband, Corey. And as always, the biggest thank you goes to these beautiful, wonderful paid members you guys see right here. Thank you guys so much for everything. And to my subscribers and viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you guys like this video, you guys thumbs down this video, you guys subscribed, you guys did not subscribe, either way, thank you guys so much for being here. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. So with that said, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my very next video.